Hello and welcome to everything that you need to know to get ready in the final few weeks of the Bath Half. I'm Emma from Bath Rugby Foundation. Thank you so much for choosing to run for Bath Rugby Foundation this year and raising funds for us. I am joined by our amazing run coach, Angela, who has been supporting the charity for a long time and supporting our runners. So thank you for your time, Angela. Angela's going to take you through all her top tips. I highly recommend putting your feet up, having a listen, maybe doing the washing up while you're listening and watching this, and taking it all in, because Angela has a wealth of knowledge and so much valuable information. I learn something new every year. If while you are watching this, you have a question, pop me an email and I will be able to answer, or I can forward it over to Angela and she'll be able to answer. But hopefully everything that you need to know, from what to wear, what to eat, what to be doing in the last few weeks, is covered in this now. So Angela, over to you.
Thank you. So I'd like to introduce myself and a little bit about me and my background. So I think this year will be the 12th time that I've run Bath Half Marathon as a race. I've done the route multiple hundreds of times, if not thousands. And I've trained lots of people to run that race through my running club, through individual coaching. And Bath is my home city, so I know the route pretty well. And I've been ambassador for Bath Rugby Foundation, run ambassador, for more than 6 years. It might even be 8 years. I can't remember. I've done lots and lots of times. I've run lots of half marathons, I love Bath Half Marathon. As you can see, that picture there, that was last year, having a whale of a time. I'm also a registered guide runner. I'm an England athletics coach in running fitness. I own Run Bath, which is a local running group, and I work as a full-time running coach. So pretty much everything I do is about running, and I would say quite a lot of my focus each year is Bath Half Marathon.
And one of the great things is that Angela will also be in the hub on the day as well. And so over the last few years, you've definitely supported some of our runners. You've budded up with people on the day when you spotted someone that looks like they might be struggling, and done the whole course with them and nattered your way round.
Yeah. Anybody wants me to run with them, just give me a shout on the day. I'm only interested in running to enjoy it and help other people. I'm not doing it for my own personal best times, or trying to run it fast. I want to enjoy it and wave to people and really help the charity. So yeah, I'm there to have fun.
So this year, it's going to be the same as last year's, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'll just talk you through a little bit about the route. You should be able to find this information on the Bath Half website. What you're interested in really is what your start time is. You'll be allocated a colour bib, generally white for faster runners, green are for people that are going to finish in around about 2 hours, and the orange bibs are for, I'd say, everyone else, but actually it depends how they break it up. And those are the provisional start times. It will tell you in your race pack, and Emma, I know you'll be sending out details nearer the time, what time to get to the hub, what time you need to start walking to the start line, etc., etc. I'll talk a little bit about timings later. Sorry if you can hear that noise in the background, that's the dustbin men. Obviously, when you're recording something, everyone makes a huge noise. Essentially, the start and finish is at Royal Victoria Park. The runners' village is a little bit away from the start, and the Bath Rugby Foundation hub is in the opposite direction, but actually in a good way. More information about that. So the route is 2 laps. Approximately, if we go on to the next one, lap 1 is approximately 8 miles. You come down from the park, down Marlborough Lane, out onto the Lower Bristol Road, all the way around through Widcombe, past Widcombe, into Great Pulteney Street, back out again. And then the second lap is slightly shorter. You sort of retrace your steps, but it doesn't include Pulteney Street. So it's the same route as last year. It's different to the year before, and it's different to the year before that. So don't worry about it. You won't get lost. Now, I'm not going to share the exact video that I made here because it doesn't play very well via this medium. But Emma's going to share the link with you, and you can watch a YouTube video that I made last year. And you see it's Bath Half Marathon 2023 route drive-through. I did it in my car. Don't worry, my camera was free. It's a time-lapse video showing the exact route. So it's going to look a little bit different because there might be scaffolding in different places, but essentially it's going to show you what the route looks like.
In the email that you are seeing this in, if you scroll down, you'll be able to click on this video to watch it. I think it's very useful to watch because for me, you can see where some of the hills, obviously Bath tends to be quite a flat route, but there are some hills. So you can see where those bits are and you get a feel, I think, for the bits that if you're doing this for the first time, where it might be a bit more of a struggle, like the long route out, along the Bristol Road sort of thing.
And it's quite a short video because it's done in time lapse. So I've done a recording over it to say this is where the water stops are, this is where you'll go around, etc. So it is quite a short watch. And someone that I know hasn't run Bath Half for about 4 or 5 years actually sent me a comment and said, "Oh, thanks for doing that because I didn't realise that the route had changed." So yeah. So now that we're in that period, which is sort of 2 to 3 weeks before the race, we start thinking about tapering. Now, what is tapering? So tapering is a gradual decline in your mileage, your number of runs, the intensity of the runs that precedes the event. So if you see that little graph at the bottom there, you see you've got 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week and race day. So what you're thinking about is at this stage of training where you've trained, you've done your training runs, you've done your long runs, hopefully you've been practicing what to wear, nutrition, etc. I like to think of it as your battery's a bit depleted. And what we want to do over the coming weeks between now and race day is just give that chance for our body to recharge. So we don't want to be doing longer runs. We don't want to be doing hill training. We don't want to be doing hard training over the next couple of weeks. Now is the time just to let your body go so that you're fresh on race day. One of the things that people say to me is they find the taper really hard because you've been training, you've been getting the miles in, and then you start thinking, oh my goodness, race day is, I think it's 18 days at the moment, but you might be listening to this 2 weeks or a week before. Nerves start to set in. Best thing to do is keep yourself busy. Start laying your kit out, what shoes you're going to wear, what socks you're going to wear. Maybe get a sports massage, stay active, go for a walk, meet your friends for a coffee that you haven't been able to because you've been doing all the training, and focus on sleep as well. Sleep is underrated. And don't try anything new. Now, I know I say this, it might sound obvious, but if you've got more time because you're not training, the tendency is to go out and yeah, let's go and have a game of football. Oh yeah, I haven't done climbing before. Yeah, let me join you for a climbing session. It's not great to do it now. And I know somebody that played hockey 2 weeks before London Marathon a couple of years ago because their friend said, "Oh, come along for a game of hockey." And they weren't running as much, they were tapering, and they got injured and missed the race. So just keep everything really low level. Swimming's okay, a bit of yoga's okay, walking is okay, but not climbing, football or new weight training. Let's talk about nutrition. Now, there's a couple of things that you can do now, the week before and the day before. We call it gut training. What works for you? Hopefully by now, if you've been doing some of your long runs, you've been practicing, perhaps taking some gels on board, what fluids you need. Hopefully you've practiced that now. Some people don't have anything, but I would say if you think that it's going to take you more than 2 hours to run Bath Half, you probably do need a little bit of extra nutrition, whether that's jelly babies or gels. Or there isn't a right or wrong answer. You need to try what works for you. The week before the race, make sure you stay hydrated. I mean, I know that might sound obvious, but it's really easy to forget to drink. And try to think of every meal containing carbohydrate and protein. So if you're vegetarian or vegan, maybe you want to be something like tofu, beans, and rice. Or if you eat meat, maybe chicken and pasta with a bit of I put edamame beans. They have extra protein. You know, you don't want to be trying new stuff the week before. If you've heard that the best running fuel is pizza and a big glass of Coca-Cola, that's someone's opinion. Don't be thinking that's the right thing to do. So the week before, don't try anything new. The day before is not the day to skip any meals. Make sure you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We talk about carb loading. That does not mean eat the most giganticest bowl of pasta that you've ever eaten in your life, because it will sit heavy on your stomach on the day of the race. It just means just increase the amount of carbohydrates that you're eating the day before. And don't eat really late the night before the race. You know, you want to have plenty of time for digestion. And if you can, practice. So this is, you know, we've got the standard sort of government plate that we talk about, where, you know, it's a half vegetables, a quarter protein, and a quarter carbohydrates. That's fine most of the time on an easy day or recovery day or normal life. But if you look at this where it says hard intensity, that's where if it's more than 2 hours or about a half marathon, you want more carbs. So you sort of switch it over. Again, it's just a rough guide. Everyone is different. So on the day of the race, again, this is where you should be thinking about planning, really. And I take it from the time when you wake up. What time are you waking up? What time are you having breakfast? Do you need to have food en route? Not everyone lives in Bath. Some people have got an hour or more journey to get to Bath. You know, are you going to take a banana with you? You know, are you going to have something at the start of the race? What are you going to have during the race? What about later in the race when you've run out of energy? And what about after the race? Now, some people say, I can't eat after a race because I just don't feel hungry. Okay, I get that. But you really should have something afterwards. And there are some lovely sandwiches at the hub. And I've actually looked forward to those because
they are very tasty. And there's always a selection of flavours of them. And at the hub, when you arrive in the morning, we have, you know, some energy gels, jelly babies, good stock of bananas, tea, coffee, water, biscuits if you need a bit of sweetness, those sorts of things, some protein bars, those sorts of things that you're welcome to kind of snack on. And then post race, when you come back, there's a goodie bag there with a sandwich in, some biscuits, some crisps, you know, those sorts of things, so that you, even if you're going out for food, because lots of people book a meal afterwards, you know, go for a roast or whatever, most people will end up eating their sandwich when they come back to the hub and eating that and then going and doing the roast, because you definitely deserve it on that day.
And you know, you need it as well. You've got to think about, you know, you're going to be burning approximately 2,000 calories during that race. You know, obviously everyone is different, but if you think of it being approximately 2,000 calories and the recommended amount of calories you need is 2,000 in a day, you've already burned off what you would eat normally. So yes, I've also put in there little toilet paper things. That's thinking about toilet stops as well. You know, not on the race, but sort of when you need to go in the morning. And again, great thing about the hub, there are clean toilets there that you don't have to queue for.
Yeah, and it's warm and it's dry, which, you know, hopefully we'll be having a nice dry race, but we can never predict these things, so that's always an advantage as well.
So this is going into a little bit more detail about sort of a strategy for the race. There are two schools of thought here. Either take your own or use what's provided. If you're going to take your own, you know, some people might use the hydration vest or something around the waist or in your pocket. I don't recommend carrying those little bottles, but if that's what you do, or use what's provided. There are two water stations, which means 4 visits. They provide you with little cups, or you can take your own bottles. And there's only one gel stop, and that's at Great Pulteney Street, that you only visit once, and that is a high 5 gels. So practice them yourself beforehand, or grab a couple there because you might need one a little bit later on.
Our runners kind of have been doing a mix of taking their own water and using them. Probably a couple of runs ago, there was sort of a few complaints that there wasn't enough water stations, so they have doubled them. If you are someone that likes to drink a lot of water when you're on your run, it's worth taking your own with you in a backpack and have a practice with that now, because those that are drink a little bit more might find that it's not enough on the route, particularly if it's a warmer day. And you know, we can't predict with the weather at the moment, but you know, it could be. We've had March half marathons, haven't we, where it's been like 15, 16 degrees. So yeah, you can never predict these things.
Yeah, you're right. It's a good point, Emma. I think because the water is provided in cups at the water station, the idea is that you have a sip, chuck your cup away. Of course, you can't run with a cup in your hands; it spills everywhere. So if you are the sort of person that wants to have water to sip on throughout the race, then you will need to bring your own. Yeah. So some ideas the day before, I alluded to this earlier, but you want something like rice, pasta, or potatoes, chicken, fish, tofu. Breakfast, eggs, toast, porridge, tea, coffee, banana. You know, I always take a banana with me on the way to the race. That's not supposed to be a chocolate bar. That's supposed to be like a cereal or protein bar. During the race, that might be gels. It might be jelly babies, gels, sweets, whatever. And after the race, I put a sandwich there or a burger. I wouldn't eat a burger, but some people swear by it. And chocolate milk is also another thing that people swear by. I find it a bit sickly, but it's good for protein and sugar and various things.
Also, it's worth saying, so after the Bath Half, sometimes when you're walking through the runners village, you will get given like a goodie bag or some free samples of things. It's worth just triple checking what you're being given before you glug them, because a few years ago there was some alcoholic, like hard seltzer style drinks given that everyone glugged without realizing that they were alcoholic. So just triple check before you take something on board that it's actually what you want to take on board.
So we talked about a little bit about this, what's available at the Race HQ. Coffee and water's there for any, you know, all the way through for if any of your supporters are around. Pre-race, we talked about that, and there's lots of lovely goodies afterwards. So yeah, we've already mentioned that. Talk about planning. So again, I talked a little bit about this in terms of nutrition, but have a think about working back from what time you need to get to the start line, because it's going to be busy there. And some people need to use the toilet 2 or 3 times on the start line. So even if you've used the bathroom at the race hub, people still want to use the Waterloos. It just happens. It's just a phenomenon of race, taking part in events like this. You know, you will be told, or you will be advised what time to get to the hub and what time to leave to get to the start line. But you want to be adding on to that your travel time. Remember, it's not just all the you know, the thousands of people taking part in the race that are going to be traveling to Bath or the start line. It's their you know, their partner, their mum, their dad, their dog, their budgie, their next door neighbour's cat. You know, people bring 5 people with them, so it's quite a lot of people going on. You know, work that back to what time you have your breakfast. You know, do you need a caffeine hit? What time are you going to have a shower? When do you need to go to the bathroom? I work it all the way back and overestimate how much time I need and set my alarm early so that I'm not worrying about it the day before. So let's talk about a little bit of race strategy. With a half marathon, thinking about 21 kilometers or 13.1 miles as one big chunk is quite a lot to bite off. So you want to be thinking about breaking it down into smaller chunks. Now you can either do that in landmarks. So you could say, okay, the next, running at the start, run down Marlborough Lane. The next thing that I'm going to be thinking about is the bridge by the boathouse, and it's the little humpback bridge. And then the next after that, you can think, okay, McDonald's. I know where McDonald's is. Sainsbury's petrol station. Now the thing is, if you don't know Bath that well, that doesn't mean anything to you. But you can look at the route and say, oh yeah, that bit goes there. I'll look out for that. Or have it the chunks as being where your supporters are. So, you know, if we the first lap we sort of run fairly near to where the Bath Rugby Foundation hub was, and there were a few supporters out there. My running club, Run Bath, has a cheer station by Bathwick Tyres, which is sort of just after McDonald's. Look out for them there. They always have sweets. Or if you've got some friends or family coming, where, you know, put them in strategic points and look out for them. It makes such a difference to know that there's someone coming up that's going to wave at you or cheer you on. Honestly, it's such a big boost. And the really boring bit along the Lower Bristol Road, you've got Radio Bath there. And the last few years they've been out and some of the presenters there have been interviewing people as they've run by, and that's great as well. And they have Battle of the Bands. So there's lots of things to look out for. So try not to think of the whole thing as one big run. You can also break it down into chunks of 3 miles, so 3, 6, 9, 12, and then you finish the next time, or kilometers, 5, 10, 15, 20, or in half an hour chunks. Get your watch to beep at you and just focus on that little bit that you're in. Or you could just say, I'm going to focus on lap 1 and I'm not going to worry about lap 2. Or you can just say, right, I know the flat bits. I'll prepare for the hills and focus on the flat bits. Don't worry about negative splits. That's if you're a little bit more experienced, but essentially you want to be running the first half slow and the second half a little bit faster, but don't worry. You've also got the strategy of how you're going to fuel. So are you going to, when I say fuel, that's water and food. Are you going to do that at the stations that are there? I like to do mine every 30 minutes, or you could say at certain points, or I'm going to do it regularly. Trickle, not flood. What that means is if you are taking on board water, just sip it, because if you gulp it, honestly, you'll just be swishing around. And don't wait until you're thirsty before you have a sip of water. It's usually too late.
And I think probably one of the things I've learned from the runners that have gone before is if you're thirsty, don't have an energy gel, because quite often those energy gels can be quite a lot, aren't they? They're quite intense. And if you're thirsty, it's not going to quench that thirst. And actually what you're going to end up is not a very nice feeling in your mouth. Pick up the energy gel, get to the water, and then have the energy gel.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of the energy gels are supposed to be taken on board with water. Yeah. So again, this is just one way of breaking the whole race down into little bits. So I've broken it down into 13 sections, not 13 1-mile sections, but you've got like number 1 is just the first water stop. So that'll be a mile when you get to the first water stop. So keep it easy, really use it as a warm up to get there. Like I said, then you've got Battle of the Bands, number 2, Run Bath cheer station at about 5k, grab some water at mile 5, halfway is the gels. Well, it's less than halfway. Coming back, hit 10K. You can see where the little markers are. Number 7 is you're on loop 2, so you're over halfway. Lost where number 8 was gone. Oh yeah, number 8 is more water. Number 9 is Battle of the Bands again. Number 10 is saying hello to Run Bath again. And so on. So you can break it down quite nicely into 13 different chunks that aren't necessarily exactly 1 mile apart, but there's lots of things that you can do.
And Angela, that this is not on nutrition, but it's just occurred to me that last year we had a few runners at that point of going on to loop 2, stroke finishing loop 2 and going up towards the finish line. There was a little bit confusion as to where they needed to go because there was just a couple of people with signs in the middle of the road. So as you're going loop 2 and loop 3, keep an eye out for those signs and just be watching that you're heading down the right channel.
Yes, you've got the situation with the 2 loops that if you're starting the race, 45 minutes after the white runners, the white label runners, they're going to be overtaking you around about McDonald's time. They're on their second lap. Don't worry about that. But you'll be on different sides of the road. You can't miss it because they'll channel you, but there might be some crossing overs. Just keep your eye on who is running in front of you and follow them. And at the end, yes, you're right. When the first loop doesn't go all the way up to Queen Square, it scoots past along Monmouth Street. The second loop, yes, goes all the way up to Queen Square. And then you want to be thinking of continuing up into the park, which is not a natural flow of traffic. It's you're going the opposite way to traffic in one bit, and then you're going over a footpath. But try to focus on a runner that is ahead of you and follow them. Hope that they don't go the wrong way.
And very handily, by our hub is a cut through. So if you do find that you've gone the wrong way, you can rejoin up with the right sections of the run. We saw that happening a lot last year. It's just something to maybe be aware of. I mean, I think a majority of people got the right way, and it's just something to be aware about when you're getting to that zone, that it's something to kind of look for.
So let's talk about race pacing. Again, there isn't a right or wrong answer here, but let's have a look at the 3 levels of runners. Novice, when I say novice, that means it's your first half marathon or your first Bath half, or it might be your first long run, whatever. The mistakes that people make at novice level is that they start off too fast. That is the biggest mistake that people make. You're excited, you're with other people, and you start off too fast, and what happens is you'll burn out by the second half, and you end up having to walk the last X number of miles. Now, a more experienced runner will have made those mistakes before and will remember to start off a bit steadier. So doesn't follow the crowd and just says, right, I'm not going to go too fast. And they should aim to run the second half slightly faster than the first half. And that's what we call negative splits. But experienced runners can still make errors of pacing judgment. I've seen it. Now, elite runners, now when I say elite runners, I don't know if we're going to have any elite runners at Bath Half Marathon. Years ago, we used to get Kenyan runners who were just using Bath Half as a warm-up for London Marathon. But these runners are very experienced at training at their race pace, okay? And they are able to maintain a steady pace throughout, and they will finish within a certain time. But they're doing this day in, day out. So don't try to, well, if anyone is in that zone of an elite runner, great. But I would imagine that most people are in this sort of novice stroke experienced or somewhere in between. And one of my favourite sayings is, if you bank time early in the race, as in you think, oh, I'm 5 minutes faster than I wanted to be, great. Then you'll be forced to withdraw that time later in the race with interest applied. So don't try to go too fast in the first bit. You'll regret it.
And one of the great things I think is that there's pacers at the Bath Half, isn't there, which you've been before, Angela. So if you are looking to set a particular time, you can look at that start line for a pacer, can't you, that you can kind of stick along with, that will help you kind of stick to those times.
With caution, I would say. If you are going to use a race pacer, that there are things you need to know. If anybody is going to do that, please message me and I'll go through that as a separate entity. It's yeah. I don't want to cover it in this because it's not going to be relevant to most people.
No problem.
So I call these my mind games or coping strategies or things to do when things aren't going great. If you've got somebody that you can run with, like me, I'll keep you going, don't worry. But how to sort of how to keep yourself when things are feeling a bit bleak, or you've got a niggle, or it's a half marathon or an endurance event. It's an endurance event because you need to endure that amount of time that you're out for. So if you're a 1 hour 30 half marathon runner, yeah, you're probably going to be running it fairly fast, and it's going to be very tiring. If you're a 2.5 hour marathon half marathon runner, then you're out moving for 2.5 hours. If it takes you 4 hours, it's just as much a challenge because you're out for 4 hours. So it doesn't matter whether you finish in 1 hour 20 or 4 hours 20, you're still working hard. Okay, and don't worry about your finish time compared to someone else's. So that I'm not saying it's going to be easy, otherwise every single person in Bath would be running it. So you're doing something that is, is hard work. So if it becomes hard work, have a think about coping strategies. So one of the things you can do is dedicate the mile you're in to someone special. So you could go, right, okay, mile 1 is, I'm going to think about my cat. Mile 2 is going to be, my best friend. Mile 3 is my mum or dad. Mile 4 is whatever. And then when you go, you can have it written on your hand, and you get to mile 6 and it's like, oh my goodness, this is so hard. And you go, who am I dedicating this to? Oh yeah, my next door neighbour's budgie. Okay, I'm just going to think about Fred the budgie. Fred the budgie. What would Fred the budgie say? Okay, and it just takes your mind off of your body. There's other ones there that you can do, and I think they're all a little bit of. Some of them are a little bit of fun. I like looking for colours of the rainbow, and you can go, right, just say a random 10 pink things, and you want to look for 10 different pink things. So, oh, that person's got pink socks. Oh, look, there's some pink blossom. It really, really helps. And the other one is remember your why. Why are you doing this? Go back to that. Are you raising money for charity? Are you doing it in memory of someone? Are you doing it as a personal challenge? And I tell myself, if this is hard, at least I can do this. There are people that can't do this. So yeah. The other thing to do is focus on your posture. This is when things aren't necessarily going well, because what happens is, and I'll do a sort of visual demonstration, when we get tired and we're feeling like it's, the first thing we do is we do this. Because it feels like we're relaxed. It's going to have the absolute opposite effect. It's going to make it harder. So what you want to think about is, staying tall, thinking about your head, looking ahead, keep your shoulders relaxed, keep your elbows in this nice position, keep your arms swinging, and keep your hips up. Okay, so just think, run tall, look ahead, keep your arms moving. That's a very small description of posture, but don't slump down, it makes it much worse. Having a mantra is good as well. Something in your head or something that somebody has said to you that is just going to go, oh yeah, I remember that. And I like this one here. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. There's lots of variations on that, but this one here, run when you can, walk if you have to, crawl if you must, just never give up. And then after the race, keep moving as much as you can. I mean, there is the tendency to want to just lie down and are we having massages at the hub this year, Emma?
Yes, yes. So we'll have pre and post massages,
Oh, lovely.
and they make the world of difference. And I think although sometimes the pre one isn't used as much as the post one, but the pre one is a great way to warm up as well, Angela, isn't it?
The pre and the post massage. Yeah, I'm first in the line for both of those. Yeah, it's amazing. Keep moving. You'll be able to drop a bag off at the hub as well. So make sure you've got some warm clothing, clean, dry, warm clothing. Even if it's a sunny day, well, if it's a sunny day, you end up sweating a lot. So you need something dry. And nothing feels nicer than a lovely, comfy pair of shoes or flip-flops or some just comfy footwear after you've been running on the road all day, and a lovely, fleecy woolly jumper. And yeah, we talked about food before. Just, think about this time. Food is not for fuel. Food is for recovery.
I think one of the things that's great about where our hub is that it's a little bit of a walk from the finish line, but it's like the perfect distance for that cool down walking. If when you finish, you've got to the end and your friends or family are meeting you at the hub as opposed to at the finish line, that walk back to us is the perfect amount to kind of decompress from the race, but also do your cool down before you get to the hub. And there's plenty of space at the hub to do any additional stretches and that sort of thing.
Yep. And then just thinking about the days and weeks after the race. I mean, when people are training for a half marathon, they don't think about anything other than getting to the finish line. But actually, the days and weeks after are really important as well. So you just mentioned about gentle stretches there. I use the word gentle because your body and your muscles are going to be quite sore. So yeah, if you can get a sports massage directly after at the hub, great. If not, get one a couple of days later. Make sure that you continue to do some gentle exercise, walking. Some people like yoga. Don't go back to the gym on Monday morning and start doing your personal best on deadlifts. It's not, you want to be thinking about just gentle eating and drinking, focus on recovery. You might be a little bit tired than normal. That's fine. That's your body just saying, get some more rest, it needs to recover. And if you get any post-race blues, you sort of go through all the training, get the high of finishing the race and everything, and then a couple of days later, it's like a void of what do I do next? Sign up for the following year. That's the way to get rid of the post-race blues. So final thoughts. So top tips. One of your training runs should be a dress rehearsal. If you've got the opportunity to get your vests beforehand, get them out, get them out and try them out. They actually are very, very comfortable on the race day. I wear this and I'll wear arm sleeves just because it gets hot, you can take them off. Lay your kit out on Friday. The reason I say that is because if you need to go and do a quick dash into town to get something that you haven't got, then you can do that on the Saturday. If you do it on Saturday night, it's more of a panic because the shops won't be open. Don't try anything new on race day. No alcohol. I'm not the alcohol police, but it would help you if you didn't drink anything on the 2 nights before. Go to bed an hour earlier on Friday and Saturday. If you don't sleep, it's not a problem, but if you've got pre-race nerves, but actually if you can get a really good night's sleep on the Friday, then it will make up for the lack of sleep on the Saturday. Yeah, we talked about fueling and hydration. Talk about breaking it down, focus on the mile you're in. Oh yeah, cut your toenails a few days before, not the day before, because so many people I know that do it, like, I've got to cut my toenails, and are a little bit overly aggressive and end up with a sore toe. So do that on the Wednesday or something. Take a throwaway top with you to the start. Now, because we're quite close to the start line, this should be okay with that, but if it is raining, you are going to be hanging around for a bit. So sometimes they don't let you take plastic bags, but you can go to a charity shop and buy a jumper, and they do collect them. You'll see people like chuck jumpers away. They do collect them. We talked about the timeline, allow extra time, always allow extra time. Don't start off too fast, talked about that. And if you're in the race pen and everyone starts moving in a surge, don't overtake people. It's just a waste of energy and you might trip up. So just go with the flow. Remember your why, why are you doing this? Focus on your posture. And the last one is smile, because honestly, it might look a bit daft, but your body hasn't got a clue what's going on when you smile. So yeah, when things are tough, smile. And when you see anyone that you know, smile. And if you see anyone that is waving, shouts your name, just smile back at them. It makes the day so much more fun. You're on mute, Emma.
I've been doing so well taking myself on and off mute, but I couldn't find when the buttons had disappeared to then. Thank you so much, Angela, for that. That was amazing. So much detail, so much information that I know is so valuable. And like we said, you're going to be there on race day at the hub. Information will be coming out shortly about the hub, but you'll be able to kind of access it from 8 in the morning. As I said, there'll be refreshments there. Your friends and family can come and meet you there after the race. We'll have massages. We try and make it a really fun environment. So we like to keep you on track to when you're leaving, your group. So we'll be kind of making announcements 10 minutes till the whites need to go, so you can get all yourself all ready. And then we will be celebrating your successes when you come back. It's a really nice, friendly environment. So there's nothing to be kind of worried about when you're coming or nervous about. And there'll be plenty of places for you to kind of sit down and get yourselves ready. And of course, we'll look after all your belongings for you while you're at the race. And as Angela said, there's plenty of toilets, places to get changed, those sorts of things. So, and if you do need showers, our hub will be open where you've got hot showers, particularly for those that want to travel a bit further. It's a little bit of it's probably about 10-minute walk across town to get to it, but there is the option of hot showers as well if you'd like one.
Yeah, and I would say honestly, like I said, run Bath Half lots and lots of times, and it makes such a massive difference having that hub there, because like you say, the atmosphere is really friendly, lots of food, it's clean, it's dry, you don't have to queue for the toilets. Yeah, and I'm not just saying that. Genuinely, it's a really good experience being with Bath Rugby Foundation and the massages as well.
Well, see you guys on the 17th. If you do have any questions, send them over. And thank you as always for your support and the funds that you are raising for Bath Rugby Foundation. Obviously, yeah, as prices go up everywhere, all the things that you raise and contribute only go and help those that need it so much more, and help the young people that the foundation work with. So thank you so much for that. And we'll see you on the 17th.